Celtic Badass of the Week showcases a person of Celtic heritage each week. Those who exemplify the give no shit attitude and come out on top. They may come from our past or our present, but rest assured they come from all walks of life and legend. They are men, women, even old ladies and pirate queens. Now you don't have to be a muscled up Celt in a fur kilt swinging a mighty sword. You can just be a 4'11" Welsh woman and suffragette who knows jujitsu. Now most of these badasses are all too real, and while some of these are only legend, they're badass legends. The only prerequisite is Celtic blood and badassedness. St. Patrick's bravery. We can also be sure that the Irish found Patrick admirable according to their own highest standards. His courage, his refusal to be afraid of them, would have impressed them immensely. And as his mission lengthened into years and came to be seen clearly as a lifetime commitment, his steadfast loyalty and supernatural generosity must have moved them deeply, for he had transmuted their pagan virtues of loyalty, courage, and generosity into the Christian equivalents of faith, hope, and charity. That's from Thomas Cahill, the author of plenty of Irish historical novels. Courage and bravery in the face of personal danger, and these were things that the Irish, they highly valued. When Patrick approached the Irish, he was a Roman entering a foreign culture. For years before he escaped back to England, he'd lived among them as a slave, so he knew the Irish and their ways. But bringing the gospel to such a people was dangerous. The only ones who could safely travel the lands between the Irish kingdoms were druids, poets, bards, and the nobility. And no doubt the nobility traveled with an armed escort. Between the kingdoms roamed bandits, so when Patrick appeared before the clan leaders speaking of a new god, he risked capture, slavery, and even death. One of his enemies was the druid class. When they heard Patrick's message of the one God, they knew instantly this Christian religion brought trouble. Weren't the spirits of the druids in the forests and the rivers and the lakes and the streams? Did they not exist in their mythical ancestors with names like the Firbolg and the Tuath Danann? And they were also in the gods Danu, the Earth Mother, Manan and Machlir, god of the sea and the underworld, and in Lu, god of many things. Their gods, though, were fickle, dark, and ever demanding. Patrick's one god, and a god who loved, threatened all this. More than once, druids tried to poison him, but failed each time. Another enemy, at times, was the nobility of the regions. To a region mired in ancient tradition, Patrick brought change, and change, well, was always threatening. The petty kings and princes of an Ireland wanted to defeat him, and end his mission and the turmoil he was creating. Yet, he walked into this dangerous mission without hesitation. He preached his message of salvation for all with bravery and courage. And for this, most of the Irish gave him admiration and an audience, an ever-increasing audience. The nobility and the druids used the pagan gods to coerce and manipulate the Irish people. Do this, or don't do that, to win favors of the gods. The Irish people saw right through this, and there was even a prophecy, an ancient prophecy that foretold of a single god that would someday conquer all of Ireland. The ruling class just thought it would be one of the pantheon of gods that they already knew instead of a god that they didn't know. It was courage that upheld the warrior when he went into battle against his foe. When the raiders came, trying to steal the cattle, grain, or women, the Irish went out to meet them with swords and spears held high and a battle cry on their lips. To go into battle was to admit that you might at any moment go into the next life. But you had your training, your weapons, and often a reason to fight. A fierce warrior, unafraid of death, was a feared and respected combatant. Thus was Patrick. He was a warrior of a different kind, though, fighting a spiritual enemy, not an earthly enemy. He brought the Irish a real weapon that they could bring to the battlefield, and that was their true faith in a loving Creator, one that asked for nothing but obedience and offered eternal life. And for this, the Irish rallied behind his cause and greatly respected him. Warriors who fought for the name of St. Patrick did not fear death. so it was no surprise to those that knew him that he would conquer all of Ireland.